Get us to Arlington, Texas, man. Midsummer Classic. We've got the full all-star rosters announced. We're also going to talk about at least like the front half or maybe the back half. I'm kind of hoping the back half, honestly. The half of the field announced in the Home Run Derby as of Monday afternoon. Happy Tuesday on the Just Baseball Show. Jack, Peter, we are going to run through the all-star teams. And of course, it's like every baseball media obligation ever is to list the snubs of the All-Star game. So we're going to list some snubs for the All-Star game. Does that sound good?
Well, we're going to list some snubs for good reason. Now, I
Yeah.
asked you before we press the record button, how many did you have? And you said you had around 5. I have 11.
Yeah.
I made an entire team by myself. I tried not to even look at the rosters that came out that are the official rosters in the All-Star game. I wanted to do my own. So I have my team, and I got 11 snubs from them, and I'm really excited to go through them as well as talk about the first round of the Home Run Derby participants. But it is all brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Remember, folks, download BetMGM on iOS or Android and use code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if it loses. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you place a bet after using the code and it loses, you'll get that all back in bonus bets up to $1,500. And if it wins, nothing happens. Congratulations on winning a bet. I wish I could win more bets. So make sure, code JustBaseball on BetMGM. But remember, gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply.
So before we get into the Home Run Derby thing, I do want to tell you about our live event that we're doing in Arlington again, because we're super excited to be hosting our first ever live baseball collectibles charity auction, which is hosted exclusively on eBay Live during MLB All-Star Weekend 2024. It's a 2-day event on Sunday, July 14th, Monday, July 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central from Play Ball Sports Cards and Memorabilia in Arlington. So it's leading up to the MLB draft and it's leading up to the Home Run Derby. Oh, by the way, it's just minutes away from Globe Life Field and All-Star Fan Fest and streaming live on the eBay app. The auction going to be streamed exclusively on eBay Live and will be benefiting various charities like Conine's Clubhouse, the Baseball Island Foundation, and Pitch In for baseball and softball. Auctioned items include cards, memorabilia, other collectibles from CGC Cards, Onyx Authenticated, and more. We're thrilled that Homage will be the official apparel partner for Just Baseball at the 2024 All-Star Game. Our crew is going to be rocking Homage's new 2024 All-Star Game shirts and the Topps and MLB collection on the stream, and they've generously donated some epic MLB apparel bundles for our charity auction. Fans around the country, you do not have to be in Arlington, Texas, can tune in exclusively online on the eBay app, and we would love to interact with you in there. So again, July 14 and 15, 4 p.m. Eastern in Arlington at Playball Sports Cards and Memorabilia and exclusively on eBay Live. Come by in person or tune in online. We cannot wait to interact with you there.
Make sure to be there. What is that, Friday and Saturday? Give me the dates again.
No, Sunday and Monday. I just told you 14 and 15. Sunday and Monday. You got it double wrong.
Even me listening to you, I needed to confirm.
Crazy.
Sunday and Monday, July 14th and 15th, 4 p.m. Eastern.
What is that? Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern. Good on that. What does that say about your listening skills?
Not great. And I can imagine that some of the listeners appreciate me checking back in with that because it's going to be a blast of an event. Some of us aren't great listeners, Jack. Some of us aren't. We're trying. We're trying our best.
I get it. I totally get it. All right, let's talk about the Home Run Derby field here because as of right now, there are 4 that are announced. It is the 2-time champ, Pete Alonso, who just announced his entry.
Of course.
Bobby Witt Jr. just announced his entry on Monday. And then you've got the the vet of the group in terms of like knowing their presence is going to be there in Gunnar Henderson and Alec Bohm. No disrespect to Alec Bohm. I'm eliminating one already. Gunnar is
wait
the
a
guy.
Minute, wait a minute. Alec Bohm could hit some nasty line drives into the gap.
I know.
He's going to put on
an
excellent fundamental batting practice session.
He's going to pump balls to right center. It's going to be like, damn, this guy can hit 310.
Deserve it all-star, but 11 home runs, and we're in the home run derby. And Alec Bohm isn't a guy with 11 home runs, but is known for crazy power. Just the balls haven't left the ballpark. Like, no. He's a doubles machine.
Yeah,
he's
it's
fantastic.
Like, but it was like, oh, Alec Bohm's in the derby? Why?
it's kind of, for me, it's just giving a really good player a chance. I mean, Mookie Betts was in the home run derby last year. What did he hit? One home run?
Yeah, no, but like he can hit 30 in a given season. You know what I mean? Like Bohm can't hit
Yeah,
30 in a given season.
true. Yeah, and it's also Mookie Betts versus Alec Bohm. I'm just trying to
Right.
rationalize it because I
I
was
don't think
surprised to
there's
see
any
his name.
way.
Shout out Alec Bohm, though. Shout out Phillies.
Shout out Alec Bohm. Is Alonso your favorite in this abbreviated field of four right now?
He should be, but I already know who's going to be in the final. Everybody knows who's going to be in the final already. It's scripted.
Bobby Witt.
Gunnar versus Bobby in the final. Of course it's going to be. And
I
it's
don't
going to be
think
that
that's
for,
scripted yet.
you have still have Judge and Soto, but two best shortstops, the young guys, because Colby Olson has done an amazing job predicting the winner of the home run derby. We've done this over the last 3 or 4 years. He's got a formula. It's about age and launch angle and hard hit rates and all that kind of stuff. I got to get with Colby, but I'm pretty sure Gunnar and Bobby are going to be one of the two who kind of fit that mold. You got to be really young, got to hit the ball hard, you got to hit the ball in the air. And I think they're going to fit the mold, and which tells me they're going to be meeting in the finals because that's just picture perfect. I mean, that's exactly how it should be. It should be the battle of the two young shortstops who are both going to be winning MVPs year in and year out.
Give me Gunnar to win the Derby, unless there's somebody crazy that is announced to be in the home run Derby. Like if Tyler O'Neill said that he wants to participate.
I would
If
love that.
if Tyler O'Neill's in the Derby, like that might be my pick because he's there exclusively to win the Derby. It's like Mac McClung. It's like, yeah, I guess you're there in the Rising Stars game, but like you're there for one event and one event only, and you're probably gonna win it.
No, but if I could have, I don't think he's a good example of a Matt McClung guy. I think I already know who that is. Jackenzie Noel. Just put him in the
Noel,
Derby.
yeah, Noel would be the
That
Mac
would be the
McClung
Mac
guy.
McClung.
Yeah, it definitely would be where it's like, oh, he's already the odds-on favorite. Yeah, I could see that. I do think if I had to pick one of these four, it would be Gunner, considering the age. But like, I'll take the over 2.5 shots of Alonso squatting or deadlifting in like the weight room at Globe Life Field in between rounds.
I kind of want like right before the Derby is going to start in Arlington, they shut out all the lights, say no phones, and then a spotlight comes down, and it's just Pete Alonso crisscross applesauce levitating, like one of
Mm-hmm.
those monks, like where
Mm-hmm.
they're just sitting there
Yeah, well,
levitating.
and they've got that cane and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
that's what I want to start the home run derby. And there's Pete Alonso, and then he gets off the levitation and just dead sprint to home plate. Just a
I would
dead
love that.
sprint, like a Brandon Nimmo after he takes a walk, dead sprint to home plate, and we start the derby.
Page out of your teammate's book. I think that's good.
Yeah, me too.
Pete Alonso, should he have been an all-star? I don't know. That is the question that we will get into here in a moment. But we're going to start with the American League here. And I'm going to run you through the rosters. And Peter, what you essentially did is you created your own all-star rosters, like how it should look.
Yeah.
Explain to me what you just did.
So pitchers and hitters, we'll talk about pitchers in a minute, but for offensive numbers, I'm looking at WRC plus, I'm looking at OPS, I'm looking at your triple slash, batting average, OBP slugging, home runs, steals, RBIs, runs. I want production, right? We talk about xWOBA and all these, expected numbers. Those are for predicting into the future. I want to give you the all-star nod if you have been the best from a production level, from a simple standard numbers that we're all used to. So you could say, well, this guy's been a little bit unlucky. He's due to keep going. Good for you. He hasn't deserved an all-star nod because what we're measuring is the best players in the first half. I also want to make something clear. I don't really give a shit about the team stuff. Like I tried my best to include a player from every single team, but in my opinion, if you have the best numbers and you've been the best player, you deserve to be an all-star. I'm sick of this trying to help fans of teams, of owners who haven't invested in their team and they have one player who's been pretty decent, so he automatically gets to be an all-star because that team stinks. No, it should go to the best players. If you're an awesome player on the Orioles or the Twins or the Mariners or teams in first place, pile more on. There's a reason you're in first place. So that's how I did offense. And then pitching. I'm very focused on ERA and innings. FIP, XFIP, expected ERA, Sierra. We use all of these numbers to predict future performance for pitchers. We're not worried about the future. We're worried about how good were you in run prevention and in how many innings did you do it in. Now, strikeouts, walks, if it's close, maybe that's when I factor it in. But in reality, these have been the best pitchers at run prevention in as many innings as possible. So and then for the relievers, I'm focusing more on closers because the last 3 outs are the hardest 3 outs to get. But I did include one middle reliever in both. Yeah. That's how I did it. I didn't really look. Like, I kind of have off the top of my dome, I remember seeing graphics, but I really didn't look at the rosters. This is my team, and I have 11 snubs from it. So let's go.
I've got the real rosters here, and we'll start with the American League infield. All right. So the American League infield, including the catchers. The 2 catchers are Salvador Perez and Adley Rutschman. The infielders, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Rafi Devers, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Gunnar Henderson, Josh Naylor, Isaac Paredes, Jose Ramirez, Marcus Semien, Bobby Witt Jr. Give me the infielders and the catchers for you in the American League.
So to start, we're aligned on Adley. We're aligned on Vladdy Jr. We're aligned on Jose Altuve. We are aligned on Gunnar Henderson. We're not aligned third base.
Yeah, so you have Westberg on the team, I assume. Over
I do.
Who? Rafi or J-Ram?
No, but I have all 3 on this team.
Okay. I think all 3 should be.
I think Devers should be starting over J-Ram.
I think so.
And he's not. So that's no snub or anything. But if we want to compare the two, Jose Ramirez does have 2 more home runs than Rafael Devers. But Devers is hitting 292 compared to J-Ram at 271. Devers has a 50-point lead in OBP. Devers has a 60-point lead in slugging. He has a 20-point lead in WRC+, and he has the higher F4. I love Jose Ramirez. He's the reason that the Guardians are atop their division. But Rafael Devers has been better. He just has. Now, it's factoring in the last couple of games because Rafael Devers has been on an absolute tear. So all of these stats are as of Sunday, right? Sunday, July 7th. That's where these stats stop. So factoring in everything, I'm not upset that J-Ram is starting.
Yeah.
But Rafael Devers should be starting. But regardless, both of them are on the same team. But for the exercise, I do think Devers should be the starter.
Yeah. So I can appreciate the WAR point and the availability point, but I see no world that Jordan Westberg shouldn't be on this team over Marcus Semien.
Yep.
I don't think Semien's an all-star this year. I think he can really turn it on in the second half and put together a great season, but you compare Westberg and Semien, offense takes precedent, obviously, in this conversation. I don't think it's close. Like, if Westberg was on and Semien was off, I don't think there's an uprising for anybody.
No, I mean, Marcus Semien is an 88 WRC+. 88, that's 12% below league average. Now, he's been great defensively.
Sure.
But he shouldn't be an all-star. I agree. Jordan Westberg should be over Marcus Semien, but so should Willie Castro.
Yes.
Willie Castro, the Minnesota Twins. And we're not the podcast that say, oh, this guy should be on. On Twitter, on social media, you see a lot of people, oh, this guy should definitely be an all-star. He was a snub.
Over who?
Over who? Exactly. Yeah. Over who? So we're going to do it. Unfortunately, we got to take some guys off. I'm sorry, but we got to do it. We got to give the guys their deserved praise. So we're going to take off Marcus Semien, and we're going to take off Josh Naylor. And I'm the Josh Naylor truther. I came on this podcast, and I was like pounding the table. Josh Naylor is going to be a beast, is going to be an all-star, and I'm the person now taking him off the all-star team, even though he made it, and I'm putting on Willie Castro. Okay. You can't be Willie Castro is putting up a 130 WRC plus, playing every single game at 5 different positions. Willie Castro, in all of Major League Baseball, is 19th in F4. He's got a 2.9 F4. That's more than Adley Rutschman, Marcell Ozuna, William Contreras, Jose Altuve, Alec Bohm, Willy Adames, Yordan Alvarez. We could keep going. It's the same as Jose Ramirez. Josh Naylor is at like a 1.4. He's not in the 2s. It has to be Willie Castro because you can also put him wherever you want to, which is fun in an all-star game. There always needs to be a utility guy. We don't need another first baseman. Should be Willie Castro. And those are arguably 2 of the biggest snubs that we have, but I do have another one.
In the AL infield?
Not in the AL infield, just in the AL offense.
Wait till we get to that position group.
Oh, don't worry, I will. I'm just forecasting.
Okay. Or is that the transition? Yeah, forecasting
might be the transition.
That might be the transition. Okay, I'm willing to make that the transition. The American League outfield. Here's what they've got cooking. Jarren Duran, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, Stephen Kwan, Juan Soto, Kyle Tucker. And then I'll throw in the DHs there too, Yordan Alvarez and David Fry. Good for David Fry of the Cleveland Guardians being an all-star. That is awesome. And I know that there are going to be a lot of casual baseball fans are like, who is that when they announce who it is? David Fry is a deserving all-star, and I love that he's on this team. Where do you go?
So, well, the starters are Judge, Soto, and Kwan. I
Yeah.
agree. They got it right. I
Yeah.
agree. Judge, Soto, and Kwan. So right now we're pulling teeth a little bit. They got it right with Jarren Duran. They got it right with Riley Green, I believe, and I think they got it right with Kyle Tucker. So I don't really have any problems with the outfield. Now, there were a couple of guys in the outfield who I could understand if you put them on this roster, considering Kyle Tucker just hasn't played a ton of games.
Well, and he'll
But,
miss it. So, like,
and he'll miss it, but damn. In those games, this is one of the best players in Major League Baseball, like so deserving of this all-star nod. In terms of other outfielders that I thought were potentially, I didn't actually make a list. I can come back to that later. But I have a problem with the second DH.
with
And
Fry or with Jordan?
with Fry. I'm sorry. And I tweeted out, this is why baseball is the best. I love that David Fry is in the game. Brent Rooker should be the DH. He should. Now, David Fry 160 WRC plus. Brent Rooker 153 in about 20 more games. And Brent Rooker has double the amount of home runs that David Fry does. This is a DH. When you have double the home runs in way more games, because David Fry, they also put him in positions to succeed. It's a lot of times against lefties. Guardians fan, we know this. Now, you see the occasional righty in there, but we know that he absolutely destroys lefties, and so does Brent Rooker. But Brent Rooker plays every day. Brent Rooker should be the American League DH. And I love David Fry, love the story, have no ill will towards him making it. I think it's awesome. But Brent Rooker, I think, should win. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree. I like the utility aspect of David Fry. Like, I think he was a utility pick, and I can appreciate a utility all-star because I think those guys kind of fall by the wayside because they don't necessarily fit into one clump. You know what I mean? Where Fry is going to play kind of all over and he'll catch a good bit too. But if we're going strictly off the bat, Rooker's been the better bat so far this year. Now you could say, well, David Fry's hitting 305 and he's actually got a higher OPS. He's got a higher OPS by about 30 points. And DHs, I like homers. And in a place like Oakland, it's really hard to hit 18 homers before the All-Star break. And Rooker did that. And he did that last year too. So I can get behind that. Um, I do side with Fry just because of the utility type thing. And I don't think you need two DHs on the All-Star roster, but I would love to see the AS next to Brent Rooker's name for sure.
Agreed. And also, to credit Brent Rooker, he has played a couple games in left, a couple games in right. So he's not just a pure DH where they'll never put him out there. There's if we're talking about the utility aspect, it's not like David Fry is often in the field.
I mean, more than Rooker.
Let's see. David Fry this year, David Fry has played 22 games at catcher, 20 games at DH, 16 in left, 10 at first, 3 at third,
That's
3 in
way
right
more.
field.
That's way
Obviously,
more than
yeah,
Rooker.
it is way more.
Yeah.
But I have Willie Castro as my utility guy. That's where I'm at here. And I think the better bat should get the pull. But I agree. Like David Fry, problem is just like 66 games versus Rooker, who has played 77 games with 18 jacks and a 153 WRC plus. It is close, but I did have Rooker. I think Rooker deserves it. Gotcha. But I love Fry. But we keep going back and forth. I'm ready to move on.
AL pitchers. Let's jump to this here. The American League pitchers, Tyler Anderson of the Angels, Corbin Burns, Emmanuel Clase, Garrett Crochet, Logan Gilbert. I win this one, Peter. Clay Holmes, Tanner Houck, Seth Lugo, Mason Miller, Cole Reagans, Tarek Skubal, Kirby Yates. I love this assortment. I have two swaps that I would make. How many swaps do you have that you would make?
I have 2 reliever swaps and 1 starting pitching swap.
I've got 1 starter swap and 1 reliever swap. So my starter swap, I think, is probably the same one because you teased it in the intro. Ronel Blanco for Cole Reagans. And I think I know why we didn't get Ronel Blanco in the All-Star game. And I'm not saying like, oh, collusion, like let's sound the alarms on this. But yes, he has a no-hitter in the first half. And I think that a no-hitter in the first half, if you have a sub-3 ERA, should get you to Arlington for the All-Star game. I think that a 2.4 should get you to the All-Star game over a guy with a 3.3. I understand that Reagans has thrown more innings than Ronel Blanco, but if the Astros don't have Ronel Blanco in this rotation, where are they? I have no idea. I think the reason is because this is a coach and peer voted thing. One of them got suspended for a sticky substance and the other didn't.
Mm.
I think that docked his All-Star case.
I also think what docked his All-Star case was, first of all, I would prefer Ronel Blanco as well, if we're looking at the numbers. Cole Reagans has thrown more innings, but about 15 more. And it's a difference of a 2.54 ERA versus like a 3.28. But Reagans has the strikeouts, tons of them. And he's been great. And he is more talented than Ronel Blanco, right? And that's why it's tough picking pitchers. I fully understand Cole Reagans is a better pitcher than Ronel Blanco. You don't have to tell me that. We all know it. But who has had the better first half at preventing runs? Job of the pitcher. Ronel Blanco. And the innings gap isn't that far. And yes, he had a 10-game sticky stuff substance. I can imagine that a lot of pitchers are figuring out ways to get a grip on the ball. And Ronel Blanco got caught.
So Ronel Blanco at this point, his 2.53 ERA is 4th in the American League. Reagans is outside the top 10. Eric Fetty is ahead of Cole Reagans. In terms of strikeouts, Reagans is 2nd in the American League. Totally understand from that.
Oh, just a question.
Standpoint.
Do you care about that when you're voting for the All-Stars? Like, is that
strikeouts?
Is that like a big thing for you?
Yeah, strikeouts is a big thing for me.
It's not a huge thing for me. Like, I don't really care. Yes, I care more about future, right? If we think this guy's more talented or if we're projecting them for the rest of the season, of course that matters. But to make the All-Star game, I don't know if it matters that much to me. Like if it's razor thin between 2 guys and their innings and ERAs are so similar and one guy has way more strikeouts, I'll go with that guy.
Yeah.
But if there's a difference in 0.7 runs, I don't really care that Cole Reagans racked up more strikeouts because you allowed more runs. That's my opinion on it.
I do think strikeouts are kind of the it thing in baseball right now, though, and I'm victim of the it thing in baseball.
You're just a follower.
I am a follower. I'm not afraid to admit that. And
I'm a trailblazer.
I understand.
I'm getting back to the gets outs guys. Ronel Blanco is a get outs guys.
Yeah, but he also racks up some Ks when he's right.
Yeah.
Reagans, I will say, like, I do take strikeouts into consideration, where if a guy is like top 5 in the American League in strikeouts and he's half a run higher, I could totally see that when, it feels like somebody else is pulling a Houdini act. Like, if I'm looking at a guy with a 2.7 that is punching out 6 per 9 versus a 3.3 that's punching out 12 per 9, I'm going to go with the 3.3 and 12 Ks per 9.
I think I'm going to go with the 2.7 guy. Even though the guy with the 3.3 is a better pitcher and probably will be for the rest of the year. But I think the guy with the 2.7 would deserve it here if the innings are close.
Yeah, and you're an old soul, man, and I can appreciate that. But, like neither of these 2 guys is in the top 10 in the American League in innings pitched. Yes. So, it's not like we're talking about the innings leader. If Reagans was the American League innings leader and he was on the mound all the time, I get it, but he's outside the top 10. Yeah, and like batting average against, Ronel Blanco is 2nd in the American League, only to Luis Gil at this point. Like Skubal is 3rd. He's 20 points higher than Ronel Blanco. Skubal, opponents are hitting 195. Opponents are hitting 174 against Ronel Blanco. When you look at WHIP, Ronel Blanco sits at 6th in the American League at 1.01. Reagans is out of the top 10 in the American League in WHIP. So like all the numbers point to Ronel Blanco deserving this nod over Cole Reagans, but I think this is a testament to what Reagans did in the second half last year, compounding with what he did in the first half this year, and B, maybe an indictment on Blanco for the sicky substance suspension.
I think you might be right about that. I think there's something there where it was like, all right, these guys are pretty damn close. Maybe Reagans has the higher F war or something.
Yeah.
We'll give it to him because the other guy got a suspension. And I understand that. But I don't really care. I'm going to give the guy who's got a 2.53, respectfully. And I have a Cy Young ticket on Reagans. I freaking love Cole Reagans. I've been pounding the drum for him ever since he first got to Kansas City, and I saw that 100 in the first start. And I said, everyone shut up and watch, because this could be crazy. And it has been crazy. But Ronel Blanco has been better this season, in my opinion, so I would go with him. But again, I'm not like pissed. That's not like Willie Castro. I'm pissed. Jordan Westberg. I'm pissed. Brent Rooker, I'm not pissed. Ronel Blanco over Reagans, I'm not upset at all. I would prefer him.
I'm kinda upset about Reagans over Blanco.
You are.
Yeah.
I can respect that. You know what? Me too. Would have joined you. Me too.
Good.
Because what's the best part about the All-Star game? It's freaking out about the snubs. I mean, why even play the game? It's just about the rosters. What's the best part of the game? No one cares when they actually play.
No, it's like it's 2.5 hours and then it's over.
Yeah. And none of them are trying because it doesn't mean anything.
Anymore.
This is our All-Star game. This is our All-Star game.
Is that an old head take? Like, I wish the All-Star game still meant something. I think that's like kind of a consensus.
Everybody
take.
does. Yeah. I don't know anyone who's like, I'm glad it means nothing.
It was better when it meant something.
Yes.
I have one reliever swap that I would love to make.
Okay.
Hunter Gaddis should be an all-star over Clay Holmes.
Thank you. I'm a Yankee fan. It should be Hunter Gaddis. I mean, it's not. Well, also, I have another one. But Hunter Gaddis has been unbelievable. 1.28 ERA in 42 innings.
Yeah.
One of the league leaders in relievers for innings and one of the leaders in ERA.
He leads Major League Baseball in appearances.
To be perfectly honest with you, I was looking at the Guardians bullpen. Just make their bullpen the All-Star game. I mean, it's everyone is at a 1.7. Like Tim Herron is like the fourth best guy at a 1.8 or something like that. This bullpen is so unbelievable. If everyone wondering, how are the Guardians this good with no starting rotation? They don't need any of them. The Bybee, that's it. Get to the bullpen. Nobody hits this bullpen. It's unbelievably good. And Gaddis deserves it. And obviously Class A is already in there. Here are the 2024 All-Star rosters on MLB.com. I see 4 relievers: Class A, Holmes, Mason Miller, and Kirby Yates. And in the National League, they have Helsley, Hoffman, Tanner Scott, Matt Strom, and Robert Suarez. That's 5 versus 4. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Well, that's what it is. So can we add a 5th to the American League? I don't know why there's only 4 right now.
Go ahead. I mean, they took an additional starter.
Andres Munoz.
Okay. Yeah.
And if we're talking about snubs, let's say, well, no, you stick to the 4 that they have right here. Munoz over Mason Miller?
No. I side with Mason Miller, and you're going to give me the numbers, and I know that Munoz is going to have a much better ERA than Mason Miller
by
will.
A full run.
By a run. I understand.
1.5 to 2.47.
I understand. But give me the strikeout totals. Do you have those in front of you?
Mason Miller dwarfs him.
Yeah, right.
Like, do I care?
I kind of care about 103 fireballs.
Munoz throws 101.
Yeah, but Miller's different. There's a difference between 101 and 103.
The fan in me needs to see Mason Miller in the All-Star game. The fan in me needs to see Paul Skeens in the All-Star game. I don't have either on my roster. It's just a numbers game. Munoz has as many saves, and he's got an ERA a full run lower, and there isn't an innings discrepancy.
Yeah, but think about that. He has as many saves. Think about that. He has as many saves for the division-leading Seattle Mariners as the closer for the Oakland A's does.
But it's not like he's blowing them.
I know.
Yeah, so, like, I don't care about that. Is Mason Miller cooler to watch? 100%.
Yes.
Who's been the better reliever? Andres Munoz. Like, and you could say, well, Peter, look at the FIP, look at the XFIP. Mason Miller's numbers are outlandish. He strikes out of. He's giving him more runs. What do we want? More or less runs from our reliever? I want
less runs from your reliever. What I will say is, and the high for Mason Miller for the first 2 months of the season was next level. Like
100%.
He was the best reliever in baseball. He was like the front runner for American League Rookie of the Year for the first 2 months of the season.
And if I told you Mason Miller had a 1.50 ERA, you'd be thinking about him in the Cy Young conversation because he's sexy. But he's got 103 because he's got 15.63 strikeouts per nine. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Who cares? Munoz has been better. It is
I
what it
care.
is.
I care.
What? A full run? It's
Full
different if,
run, but
like, for example, you could make the argument Kimbrel should be over Mason Miller. Kimbrel's got 23 saves. He's got more than Mason Miller. He's got a 2-1.
but like I'm team middle reliever. Like I'm team Gaddis over a closer for the New
Sure.
York Yankees.
Yeah, I'm in on that. We already did that.
Yeah.
I'm in on that. Clay Holmes does not deserve to be on this team. I'm a Yankee fan. He's got a 3 ERA. He just doesn't. Sorry.
Mason Miller, 37 and 2/3 innings, 66 Ks.
Stop looking at the Ks.
Andres Munoz.
You're like a drug addict. You're like, give me that.
Give me
Give me
the
that Ks.
36 innings, 43 Ks.
Who cares? One is allowed. One's got a 1.5 and the other's got a 2.5.
I understand.
It's just,
Okay.
it is what it is.
I'm team you, man. Like I'm
This
here
is
for
fun.
it. It's just like, yeah, sure.
You
All right.
hate it.
We're going to get to the National League here in a moment, but before that, quick break. Before we get back to the National League, got to tell you about our good friends at Game Time. New friend of the show is Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So if you're hunting for, big league game, pre-All-Star break, post-All-Star break, hell, you're in Arlington and you want to go, use Game Time. You get killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying Major League tickets. Use Game Time for last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, list goes on. You get a lowest price guarantee. You get panoramic seat views when you're at checkout. I love the all-in pricing toggle feature. I use that so I know what I'm getting into. Is an $8 ticket actually going to be $14? That's the transparency that comes with the all-in pricing toggle. That is my favorite thing at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code JUSTBASEBALL, all caps, one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code JUSTBASEBALL, all caps, one word, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
And remember, folks, all my friends have been using the code because Game Time is clearly the best app out there, but a lot of them have gotten confused. You pick out your seats and you get to the end, and normally you'd put in a code there and you'd get the $20 off. No, as soon as you download the app and you create an account, go to the profile section, you'll see the code in there. You put it, code, all one word, all caps, just baseball, and then you check out with your seats and it'll be applied at the end. So make sure to go to the profile section, put in code just baseball, all one word, all caps, $20 off your first purchase. It's a no-brainer. It's the best way to buy tickets.
Easy peasy. All right, let's jump to the National League infield here. National League infielders, as it stacks up right now, the catching tandem, William Contreras and Will Smith, C.J. Abrams, Pete Alonso, Luis Ariz, Mookie Betts, Alec Bohm, Ellie De La Cruz, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, Ketel Marte, Ryan McMahon, and Trey Turner. That is the infield alignment. I have no problem with the catchers. Do you have any problem with the catchers?
I do. It should be both of them. Not taking anybody off, but we got the wrong starter. William Contreras is the starter. Should be Will Smith. Sorry.
Yeah, but voting ended before Will Smith had that 4 straight AB with a homer stretch.
All right, well, I'm telling you who I think should start.
Yeah.
Stop Sunday. So you could say, and remember, this isn't a big deal. Both of them made it. Both of them deserved. I'm just saying, to Sunday, the starter should be Will Smith. And you could say, we can't count the 4 home runs and 4 straight ABs. 3.3 F4 to 2.8. Will Smith, 15 home runs to William Contreras is 10. So he still had more home runs if you take away every single one of those home runs hit. 297 versus 271. So he takes the cake in batting average. William Contreras does. OBP, slight advantage for William Contreras. Big advantage for Will Smith in terms of slugging. Will Smith has the higher WRC plus. And by fielding value, according to Fangraphs, Will Smith has been the better defender than William Contreras has. That's why I'm going with him. A 0.5 gap in F4 among catchers, that matters to me, especially the one with 5 more home runs. You could take them all away, still more home runs. Better WRC plus. That's what I'm going with as a starter, but I'm totally fine with William Contreras. Just wanted to point that out that to Sunday, I think Will Smith has had the better season for the Dodgers.
Got you. I have 2 egregious mistakes on the infield. I think the catcher assortment is right. Pete Alonso should not be on this team. Christian Walker should be on this team over Pete Alonso. Like, that's clear as day, and I'm sure that you had that down.
1,000%, arguably the biggest snub of them all.
Yes. He clears him in
everything.
Really, like, everything.
Everything.
And not to mention, one of them is an elite defender, and one of them is slightly below average, like average.
Fine. First base.
Fine.
Like one
so,
of those
like,
guys
it's a net neutral. Yeah, it's a net neutral versus a Gold Glover, and the Gold Glover is literally better in every single offensive category that matters. And I saw Nugget Chef, who's on that Baseball is Dead podcast, and he said this is totally a sympathy all-star vote just so you can get Alonso to participate in the home run derby. I'm not going to say like it's collusion like that, but if it is, that sucks, and we've robbed Christian Walker. Like, brutal. No chance Alonso should be on this team over him.
1,000%. But there's an even, I think, bigger snub.
Yes.
That's pro Mets now.
The guy that's 10th in all of baseball in WAR.
Yeah.
Take Luis Ariz off.
Yep.
Francisco Lindor should be an all-star.
1,000%. Francisco Lindor over, who did you say again?
Luis Ariz.
Yes. Point blank, period. I don't even think it's close. You got some of the singles. Francisco Lindor is an all-world defensive shortstop and has also been great offensively this year. What are we talking about? Lindor beats him in almost every single metric. Another one. Willy Adames didn't make this team. Why? Because Ryan McMahon has to make the team. So that's why I get it. Like, it's not technically a snub because the Rockies do need an all-star. Yeah. But it sucks for Willy Adames. 2.7 F4 this year. He's been an above-average hitter. He's been such a good defender. He's got 13 bombs. He's got 11 steals. He's walking a ton. Willy Adames should be on this team over Ryan McMahon for sure. And I also have more problems. We got the wrong guy starting at short. You can make the argument Trey Turner shouldn't be on the all-star team. And I know that sounds crazy, Phillies fans. I know. It's just the amount of games played. And it's not about what he's done in those games played. It's just 50-ish games. And there's some other guys on this list, but when Willy Adames has played every game and his numbers look great. Now, offensively, Trey Turner is going to dominate Willy Adames. We know this. Everybody who watches baseball knows this. But it's in a far fewer sample, and Willy Adames has been an absolute stud of a defender, while Trey Turner has been below average defensively. So, yes, Trey Turner in his 54 games has been awesome offensively, but Willy Adames has been really good offensively, great defensively, and played like 30 more games. It's Willy Adames should make this team, and Elly De La Cruz should start at short. He's 6th in F4 in Major League Baseball. He has a higher F4 than Bryce Harper, Ketel Marte, Stephen Kwan. Yeah. Who else? Lindor, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Yes. Elly De La Cruz is 6th. You know who he's behind? Ohtani, Soto, Bobby Witt Jr., Aaron Judge, and Gunnar Henderson. That's it.
He's the only non-starter that is in that list.
Yes. So he should be starting. He did make the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically all I had. I put Ryan McMahon on, but I made a note to say Willy Adames should be on this team over him. But we got to put in a fucking Rocky.
Right. And I can appreciate that. I could have also appreciated Cal Quantrill. Yeah. It should be Cal Quantrill. But
yeah, it should be Cal.
You know, got to do what you got to do. All right, let's jump to the National League outfield here. The outfield assortment for the National League: Teoscar Hernandez, Jackson Merrill, the rookie, Jurickson Profar, Elliot Ramos, Brian Reynolds, Fernando Tatis Jr., Christian Yelich, and then the DH tandem is Ohtani and Ozuna. Ohtani and Ozuna is like the perfect DH tandem. They got that perfectly right, and Ohtani should be the starter. Absolutely, we got that right.
No problems.
The outfield, I don't really have like an overwhelming omission here. I think Brian Reynolds could make a starting case, but that is on the heels of a 20 game hit streak, 24 game hit streak, 25.
Yeah,
Um,
but you did in the first half.
yeah,
For
yeah.
me, so the starters, the official starters are Yelich, Profar, and Tatis. No problem with
Tatis
Yelich
won't
at
play.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tatis won't play. But and I know Tatis won't play, but I don't care. I'm still going to say who I think should start over him, even if he could play. When does Brandon Nimmo get his shine? When does
Yeah.
Brandon Nimmo, one of the most consistent players in the entire league, plays the game so hard and consistently is great offensively, consistently good defensively, and is having a better year than Tatis at this point? Should be Nimmo over Tatis, but Tatis is fancier. Tatis is your Mason Miller. So I'm fine, and he's not even going to play. It should be Nimmo. Point blank, period. Should be Nimmo.
Nimmo is seventh among outfielders in Major League Baseball in WAR.
Yeah.
Judge, Soto, Kwan, Duran, Profar. Then Willie Castro, Brandon Nimmo. And then you go Riley Green, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis. The other guy who I think, if you wanted to go one fewer infielder and one more outfielder, I do think Brenton Doyle should have been the Rocky rep over Ryan McMahon.
Yes, I agree. Because you can make a real argument between Brenton Doyle and Brian Reynolds. And now Brian Reynolds did make the All-Star team, and he made my All-Star team, but I was really deliberating between the two. Because what's more important? Brian Reynolds has been better offensively, no doubt about it. 16 bombs. He's got like a 130-ish WRC plus, better slash. No one's debating that. But Brenton Doyle has also been pretty good. He's got 11 bombs, 20 steals, 103 WRC plus. Like, he's not a great hitter, but he's above average, playing arguably the best defense in Major League Baseball in center field versus bad defense in left field. Not average, not below average,
No, bad.
bad defense in left field. In a corner. Who would you rather have as the player? I think I'm taking Doyle.
I'd rather have Doyle,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but Reynolds is the better hitter.
It's an
And kind
accumulation
of,
thing. And
and he's just been in the league for, like, he deserves it. He's earned it.
you don't see outs above average when you're voting for the All-Star team.
No,
Like,
and I don't
that's
think
not
anybody gives
populating on MLB.com.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's like, oh, good, Brent Doyle's in the All-Star game. I can watch some center field defense. So I get it,
like,
where
oh, those
everybody's
reads
coming
are
from.
crisp. Yeah.
But what I am saying is the better overall player, I think, is Doyle, who does lead in F-WAR among the two.
Yeah.
So, but I'm totally fine but I agree with you. Take Ryan McMahon off, just put Brenton Doyle on, and take off Teoscar Hernandez. I'm sorry. Jackson Merrill deserves it over Teoscar Hernandez. I know
Merrill
that's a Padres
does.
Dodger.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say he deserves it.
Now, do you think Elliot Ramos is a deserving All-Star?
Again, it's about games played.
Yeah.
I have been banging the table about Elliot Ramos. I love Elliot Ramos. He's one of my favorite players to watch right now. He's been unbelievable. 54 games. It's just, do I take the guy who's played 88 games, who's played like every single day, versus the guy who came up and has done awesome in the games that he played? And in terms of talent, there's not that many more talented outfielders right now in the game than Elliot Ramos of the San Francisco Giants. From a defensive perspective, from a speed perspective, he's turning into a five-tool player. Now, I don't know much about his arm, but from the Giants games I've watched, when he throws it in, it looks good to me. Talent-wise, in the games that he's played, Elliot Ramos deserves it. But does he deserve it over Brenton Doyle? Probably not. Haven't played as many games. Still talking about that center field defense. Brian Reynolds has just played way more. I'd probably take them. Now, Teoscar Hernandez versus Elliot Ramos, I could start to be convinced, but I'm still going to give it to the guy who's just played way more. I'm sorry. And I love Elliot Ramos, but that's what it is. But again, not upset at all that Ramos made it. I love it, especially for narratives. I'm here for it.
Got you. All right. National League pitchers to wrap. Let's run through these here. The pitchers for the National League All-Star team. Tyler Glasnow, Ryan Helsley, Jeff Hoffman, Shota Imanaga, Reynaldo Lopez, golf clap, man, Chris Sale, Tanner Scott, Paul Skeens, Matt Strom, Ranger Suarez, Robert Suarez, Logan Webb, and Zach Wheeler. Much more packed when it comes to starting pitchers. but they also have Helsley, Hoffman, Strom, Scott, and Robert Suarez. It's an interesting assortment. Are you going to do the Skeens thing now?
I love him.
Yeah.
I love Paul Skeens. He's made 10 starts.
Yeah.
Jake Irvin deserves it over him. Sorry. Jake Irvin is in the top 10 of ERA. He's thrown plenty of innings. He's got strikeouts too. No, he does not sit 102. He's not going to be as fun to watch. But that's not the point of this. Now, the point of it for the fans, I understand, is putting Paul Skeens in. But do we want to give credit to the guys who have had better seasons? That's Jake Irvin. We can go through the numbers because maybe people listening don't know a ton about Jake Irvin. They've probably heard his name. They've probably seen, oh, Jake Irvin threw a 6-inning shutout. Wow, nice. Jake Irvin's thrown 106 innings this year to 2.8. Now, he doesn't have as many strikeouts. But still, the underlying metrics are pretty good. I actually like him for the rest of the year. 2.8 in 106 versus Skeens. And how many innings does he have?
70. Let me see.
Paul Skeens has 59 innings.
Okay.
106 versus 59. And it's not like Paul Skeens is like a 1.32, and it's just the most unbelievable thing that we've ever seen.
Yeah, but a 2-1 is pretty unbelievable in your first 10 starts.
Would you rather have a 2-1 in 51 innings or 59 innings or a 2.8 and 106?
My thing on Skeens is that he did not like control when he was getting called up. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
you factor in what that guy did in the minor leagues and in the big leagues. And I know that like the minor league stats do not matter when it comes to this conversation in the slightest. But this guy, like, I am not upset at all that Paul Skeens is a National League All-Star. Do I think that Irvin should be on the All-Star team? I do. If Skeens was the guy that would have been on the chopping block, it's like, okay, I get it. You made 10 starts. Like you're 10 starts into your major league career, and you go with the guy that, you know, has gone through the trials and tribulations of being a major league pitcher. But with Skeens on this team, like I'm not batting an eye and I'm not in an uproar. Now, if he starts, I'll probably say why.
Now, you know what? If he's gonna make the game, start him.
Really?
Yeah, honestly. If
I
he's gonna make the game,
disagree.
start him.
I
Because
disagree.
but here's why. If he's making the game for fanfare, not that he doesn't deserve it. Like, I don't want any Pirates fans listening to like think that I don't think he's been amazing. 2-1-2. It's the most
No,
dominant
I
start
get
every
what you're
time.
saying. I get what you're
It's
saying.
just
Yes.
it's 10 starts. So if you're gonna put him in, start him because he's the most exciting pitcher in the National League. He is. And I think that's why he made the game. So if you're going to put him in the game, start him. That's my opinion on it. Or don't put him in the game and he shouldn't pitch at all. Because Paul Skeens in the first inning versus Paul Skeens coming in the sixth is a lot different for ratings. People are going to be tuning in for that first inning. Start him. That's the reason he's in the game, right?
So
that's where I'd go.
If you had your way on Tuesday night, Skeens and Skubal?
In terms of excitement or in terms of who I actually think should start?
No, in terms of excitement, because like what you're saying right now is if he's getting in on fanfare, the first inning should be the ratings inning. If we're looking for a ratings inning, it should be Skeens and Skubal.
No, you know who it should be?
Imanaga.
No, well, yeah, I mean, he's been awesome, but Mason Miller and Paul Skeens. Imagine that first
the opener.
Imagine that first inning. No, seriously, Jack. Imagine that first inning.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I'm
that would
actively
be,
imagining the first.
That inning. would be like Pedro coming back and having one of those innings. I mean, in terms of the electricity,
and then DeGrom near immaculate too. Yeah,
fuck it. Yeah, exactly. Like something like that. If that's what we're going for, I'm all for it. Yeah. But then lean into it. So, but if we're talking about a starter instead of an opener like Mason Miller, Skubal. Yes. Skubal. Because we got 100 from the left and 102 from the right.
That's pretty
Welcome
cool.
to the fucking major
league.
League.
Actually, maybe 102 from the left too.
He's starting to hit some triple digits, like kind of every start all the time. Yeah,
he is sneaky, a huge man, and yes. I know we've talked about that. Like he's sneaky, a big man.
6'5", 240, all juice.
Crazy.
But if we're talking about who should start the All-Star game based on production this season, it should be Seth Lugo in the American League, and it should be Reynaldo Lopez in the National League. Yeah, Reynaldo Lopez 171, just unbelievable. So yeah, I would, if we're talking about who's had the better first half. I think Jake Irvin has had the better first half than Paul Skeens, but I ain't done. I think Christopher Sanchez has had a better first half than Tyler Glasnow. And Tyler Glasnow is a big name. Much more fun to watch. 97 at the top of the zone with just insane extension. Probably feels like 107 in the box. Unbelievable breaking balls. But Christopher Sanchez has been better. We're looking at a 3.47 versus an ERA in the mid twos. And the innings limit or the innings discrepancy is not big enough. I would go Christopher Sanchez. And I'm gonna give you another one. So while we're taking Glasnow off, I'm putting in another Dodgers pitcher. Gavin Stone over Shota Imanaga.
I could see it.
Innings are basically the same. One's got a better ERA. Who would you take? The guy with the better ERA. 303 to 316. Same amount of innings. Now, if you really care about strikeouts, sure. Who's been better at preventing runs in the first half? Gavin Stone. Point blank, period.
Yeah, I think narrative worked in Shota's favor.
Yeah, and I love seeing Shota in there.
For sure.
Not debate that. I think I'd actually rather watch Shota than Gavin Stone if you want my actual opinion. Who do I like watching more? Shota.
Yeah.
I love watching Gavin Stone. That's not a detriment to him. But Shota's, man, I love watching Shota. But Gavin Stone's been better. He deserves it.
I wish I could swap like an AL reliever for Ryan Walker. Like I want Ryan Walker on this team.
I wanted Ryan Walker too. And you can make an argument. If you made an argument here, because I want to
Walker
make an argument.
over Helsley, or would you make that argument?
No. Helsley's leading the league in saves. He's got 31. You can't.
No, he's got 31 saves.
Yeah. The guy's leading the league in saves. Like you can't take him off. It's almost like leading the league in home runs or
right. Like I wish we could swap Ryan Walker in for Clay Holmes. Like I just want to do that so badly.
That's fine. Yeah, honestly. I'm a Yankee fan. I have no idea why Clay Holmes just stuck onto this thing.
No clue.
He's been great. Like it's not like he's been bad and just it's so random. He's got a 3 ERA, but the relievers we're talking about are like low ones.
Yeah.
In more innings. It's just the Yankee. The bias is strong with this one. So those are my 3 snubs in terms of the overall numbers. I have Jake Irvin over Paul Skeens. I have Gavin Stone over Shota Imanaga. And I have Christopher Sanchez over Tyler Glasnow. And there's also some snubs here in the National League relievers.
Who you got? Aside from Walker.
I'm taking Trevor McGill over Matt Strahm.
Strahm's been really, really good. Let me hear the pitch.
Amazing. But Trevor McGill has 18 saves and a 1.53. Tons of strikeouts for him, too. He's been fantastic. And think about how important he is to the Brewers. They lose Devin Williams. Yeah. They don't know who's going to be the closer.
No, they thought it was going to be Uribe.
Exactly. And Trevor McGill stands in there. Now, if we're looking at, so do you want to pull up Strahm's numbers and I'll pull up McGill's?
Mm-hmm. Give me the numbers.
The thing that could hurt McGill versus Strahm is the innings. How many innings does Strahm have?
Strahm has thrown 34 innings.
Never mind. 29. What's Strahm's ERA?
Strahm's ERA sits at 1.59.
1.53.
How about pitcher WAR that you got there?
1.2.
I've got 1.5 for Strahm.
He's thrown 4 more innings, and it's such a small sample with these relievers. Like that can definitely help. But one guy's 18 saves, and he's striking out 10.74 per 9.
I hear you.
The 9th inning is the hardest 3 outs to get.
It is.
My guy's a better ERA.
Yeah,
and
so
I love Matt Strahm
with the closer over the setup guy.
And you know what? Orion Kirkring should be in over Matt Strahm.
Orion Kirkring has been the better reliever.
So it's not taking a Philly off, but Orion Kirkring instead of Strahm.
Now, Strahm has missed the front part, Strahm has been available for the entirety of the year. Kirkring missed the front part of the year.
2 innings behind him.
Really?
Up. Yeah.
Okay.
And he's got a lower ERA. So I'd put McGill in just because I think the last 3 outs are the hardest to get. And if I get a 1.53 against a 1.59 and one guy's closing, I'm going to take that guy, especially when the ERA has been that good. Glad Tanner Scott made it. Glad Jeff Hoffman made it. Jeff Hoffman is like the Gaddis. Like just that middle reliever who's on another level.
unreal. And he was unreal last year. Like, I love that Hoffman is getting his shine now.
And Hoffman has been closing a little bit for the Phillies. He's got 8 saves. You know, Robert Suarez, unbelievable, deserves it. 22 saves, 177. And Ryan Helsley, you just got to put him on.
Yeah.
31 saves. He's still got a 2.41, but you ready to go over my snub list?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So this is my official all-star snub list, and I'm not one of those guys who's just going to say, this guy is really good. Who are you taking off for this guy? So let's go through my top 11 all-star snubs. Francisco Lindor has to be over Luis Arias. Look at the numbers. Willie Castro has to be over Marcus Semien. Willie Castro is playing all over the diamond while Marcus Semien is a below-average hitter this year. It is what it is. Jordan Westburg has been better in every aspect of the game than Josh Naylor this year. Brent Rooker, and I love David Fry, but Brent Rooker should be the DH over the Guardians DH and David Fry. I'm an ERA guy, especially when we're considering the first half of the MLB season. And Ronel Blanco's 2.53, it dwarfs Cole Reagan's 3.3. I'm taking Ronel Blanco over Cole Reagan's. In terms of relievers in the American League, we need to put more of these Guardians arms in there. Hunter Gaddis over Clay Holmes. National League now. One of the biggest snubs in the National League, arguably, Christian Walker has to be in over Pete Alonso. He just has to be. Jake Irvin, and I love Paul Skeens, but 10 starts, it's Jake Irvin. Christopher Sanchez should be over Tyler Glasnow, and I know Glasnow was awesome, but Sanchez has been better this year. Gavin Stone over Shota Imanaga. Same amount of innings. One's got a better ERA. Who would you take? And then last but not least, Milwaukee reliever closer Trevor McGill over Phillies reliever Matt Strahm.
I like it. To wrap, Sarah Langs was on an absolute heater on Twitter, and I just want to read you some of the nuggets that she was putting out about these all-star selections, some of my favorites. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr. are the second father-son duo to be all-stars at least 4 times, joining Gus and Buddy Bell. So that's really impressive.
Yeah.
5 players have been selected to an all-star team in separate seasons, at least once as primarily a shortstop, and at least once as primarily an outfielder. So elected as both an all-star shortstop and an all-star outfielder. Ian Desmond, Tom Tresh, Harvey Kuhn, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Mookie Betts.
What a list.
Right? There's a couple more.
Shout out Ian Desmond.
I know. With Mason Miller, Shota Imanaga, and Paul Skeens, this is just the 7th season with 3+ rookie pitcher all-stars, joining John Means, Mike Soroka, Sandy Alcantara in 2019. 2012 was Wade Miley, Ryan Cook, Yu Darvish. 2011, Jordan Walden, Aaron Crow, Craig Kimbrell, Michael Pineda. 2003 was Lance Carter, Mike McDougall, Dontrell Willis. 1995, Carlos Perez, Tyler Green, Hideo Nomo. And 1955, Herb Score, Luis Arroyo, Sam Jones. So we are in rarefied air when it comes to rookie pitching. And last one, favorite one, players to make the All-Star game in 3 straight seasons with 3 different teams. It's kind of a steep list. Bob Johnson from 1942 to 1944. Walker Cooper from 48 to 50. Jim Wilson from 54 to 56. Goose Gossage from 76 to 78. Lee Smith from 93 to 95. Paul LaDuca from 2004 to 2006. Alfonso Soriano from 05 to 07. Nelson Cruz from 2013 to 2015. And 2 guys that are on their 3rd season of 3 straight all-star selections wearing 3 different hats. Luis Arias and Juan Soto.
Huh. I thought you were going to make me guess, and I was immediately like, all right, who's 3? And I was like, definitely Luis Arias, and then I forgot Juan Soto. What are you talking
Soto,
about?
Nats, Padres, Yankees. It's tough. Also, last one from Sarah, because I need to keep pushing the Paul Skeens hype. Paul Skeens is the first player to be an all-star the year after being drafted in the June amateur draft. I think the June amateur draft started in the late 60s. He's a trailblazer.
That's what we got. You want to get some Just Baseball merch? Anybody listening?
You want this polo?
Want this polo? You want
that hat?
Go check it out in the episode description. The merch link is there. Rope hats are back, polos, athletic tees, shirts, everything, legitimately everything. Go check it out. Let us know what you like. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. The best way to support this show, while also hitting that big red subscribe button. And for anybody on YouTube, did we snub anybody? Who are your biggest snubs in this All-Star game? Because maybe I think my list is perfect. I think, there's no holes in it, but I'm willing to be wrong. Let me know in the comments section below. For Jack McMullen, actually, no, we're not quite leaving yet. BetMGM, Cogis Baseball, if you're gambling out there. Game time, you need tickets, Cogis Baseball, and make sure to be on the lookout. The eBay Live, Saturday and Sunday.
Yep. Nope. Sunday, Monday.
Sunday, Monday, 14th and 15th of July.
14th and 15th.
4 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
On eBay Live or in person.
You nailed that one.
Bang. Check that links out in the episode description, but also we'll be letting you guys know over the next couple of weeks, or excuse me, the next week, because that's when it's going to happen.
Yes.
Where to be, when to be. We'll keep going over it. For Jack McMullen, I'm Peter Apple. Of course, we'll see you tomorrow. And with that, thank you, everybody.